In this brief demonstration, we're going to show how OpenSpirit can allow you to integrate your GIS systems with a variety of different G&G data stores and applications. We're starting with an ArcMap project, and here we're showing some subsurface geology, some basement geology, and overlaid with in green oil and gas field outlines in the Teapot Dome area in Wyoming. We're also seeing an outline of the unit boundary for the field, some pipelines, and some other information here. We can display other layers that were generated via the OpenSpirit scan utility. Here we displayed some layers in red, represent wells and 2D seismic and 3D seismic coming from OpenWorks project, or here's a project that was in GeoFrame. These feature classes were previously computed using OpenSpirit scan utility, which crawls through all the data within a company's office. We can also add here data we have from a PPDM database from the NeuroDB database. So we're going to be looking at data coming from many sources, or we can connect to OpenSpirit and dynamically add additional data. So we'll just turn on the extension here to connect to OpenSpirit. And now let's go ahead and open up a project. Let's select, in this case, a OpenWorks R5000 data store, select my onshore district, and we'll select a particular project here. And we'll ask, just in this case, to add the well service location. And it goes off and reads the data and adds that. And let's change the display colors here. Let's make it a little bit brighter. Make it a little bit bigger so we can see the wells we just selected. So there we just dynamically created a feature class, and one thing is whenever we bring data into ArcGIS, we preserve its original coordinate reference system. So I look at the properties on this, and I see it's in a Wyoming East Central State Plane coordinate system. This is the coordinate system that the original project was in, and these other databases were in other coordinate systems. So it looks like this PPDM database, NeuroDB, was in a NAD27 geographic reference system, and my GeoFrame wells were coming from, looks like, again, Wyoming East Central NAD27. We also bring in metadata, so any layer that we have created by this mechanism, in addition to bringing in the coordinate system, we bring in information about what is the preferred datum shift from the source of that data. So let's bring up Arc Catalog and let's just look at one of these layers. Here we're looking at the metadata on one of these layers, and we see we have details in the abstract that shows us all the parameters, including what is the preferred datum shift, the APSG code of the preferred datum shift, and also telling us something about if there's any Z values, if they're three-dimensional shapes, what is the vertical unit there, something that's not normally tagged on the feature class. So this information is put in the metadata. So all this information can then be gotten into your ArcMap interface very easily from any of the data stores we connected to. Then going beyond this, we can then drill down and see data about these different data stores. Let's, for example, make just my OpenWorks well data selectable. Go in here and select some well data, and then we go ahead and bring up the icon here, which shows us all the wells, and we can drill down and see the log information on these wells. We're looking at all the different logs and their different properties, or we can see what pics are available. This is going back to the original data source, which in this case is sitting in an OpenWorks project. And again, it could be any data store we connect to. Now we can go beyond this and show interaction with other applications. So let's bring up another OpenSpirit enabled application, in this case Petrel. Right now we have an empty project here. There's no well or seismic data, but let's go ahead and connect to OpenSpirit by turning on the on-off switch there. Now it's selected and listening, so we could, if we wanted to, go in here and select, let's select all these well pics and broadcast those, and that will cause Petrel to receive a OpenSpirit selection event and import all that data and create the parent well, bring in its deviation survey, and also bring in the preferred check shot survey. It's gone off and done that. It's brought in those several dozen wells. I'll turn them on for display here. There are all those wells brought in, and let's turn on their formation tops. Now let's make those a little bit bigger so we can see them. There are all the formation tops brought in from those wells, coming from OpenWorks but selected inside of our GIS interface. We can also send any of the GIS data here. So if we make some of these other layers selectable, let's, for example, make my field outlines, my TFOT field outline itself. Let's make my township and section selectable, my facilities, and pipelines. We'll make all these layers selectable. Then if we go in here and select this area, now we go ahead and broadcast those. That will send that as a GIS event. And it's prompting me to indicate for anything that has a Z what their unit is. So all that data goes over to Petrel. We're bringing Petrel up to the forefront now. We can turn it on for display inside of its map view. And all that information went over along with its basic display characteristics. We preserve some of the basic line color, widths, opacities from all the different sources of the data, and it's automatically transformed into the Petrel project coordinate system, including doing a datum shift if necessary. Now if we look at any one of these items, let's look at the oil fields we sent over here. We can right mouse click and look at the details on it, and it brings up a dialog that shows all the properties. So all the fields that are on those feature classes are transferred along with the state properties over to Petrel. And the same thing can be done in reverse. We can take anything in Petrel and send it over to ArcGIS. But this very simply shows the power of having your GIS systems integrated with a service-oriented architecture that allows you to share these interaction events and data coming from any source that connects to the OpenSpirit integration bus.